You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
And welcome to In the Lab with Genifer. And unfortunately, Tamar is out of town. She is on the East Coast spreading the good word of cannabis. So if you are listening, Tamar, hi. We miss you. Come back to Colorado. Anyway, we have three very special guests today, and we have heard from two of them before, but we're speaking to the most amazing women behind the realm of caring, and also parents of children of the realm of caring. And I am talking about Mandy, or Amanda Stanley. How you doing?
Good.
And Heather Barnes.
Hi.
And Paige Figgy.
Hello. Figgy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I knew that.
No one pronounces it right.
Figgy. And for those of you that are new to In the Lab with Genifer, the Realm of Caring is a nonprofit organization geared especially for children with diseases or disorders. Commonly seizure disorders like Dravet-Dozer syndrome, but also little kids that suffer from cancer and those kinds of things. And we spoke to Paige and Mandy early on, like one of my first or second shows, probably in February of this year. And so we're going to catch up, see how Charlotte is, and see how Charlotte's Web is doing, which is the most amazing CBD genetics probably in the world. I was just at their grow. It was incredible. I'll be posting some of those pictures onto Can Labs and my personal Facebook site so everybody can see. But first, I'd like to start with Paige and what's happened with Charlotte since February.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know.
She's amazing. The same. She's exactly the same. Very stable. We're pharmaceutical free. She's on the same dose. So she takes about 120 milligrams CBD per day, divided up. And her seizure count is the same. So she's about 2 to 3 a month. Large seizures are all in her sleep. She recovers real quick, and it's been really amazing. And I know you guys, Heather knows, but it does take a while to hit that stride and tinker around with the meds if you need to, and just kind of. It's a longer, slower process in the body, is what it seems like. It's not that hard-hitting pharmaceutical that you add in, and it just knocks everything sideways. It did for Charlotte, but I also saw this sort of a longer, slower, more, I guess, like a holistic, I want to say, whole body build up. And so, if you are starting, just to be patient, just to encourage people to be more patient and ride it out. Give it 6 months if you can. And but yeah, so we're past a year and a half, 20 months pharmaceutical free, and using the Charlotte's Web, and it's amazing. What is amazing? Like you said, you're at the grow. It's amazing to see how much that they're growing. So you can see that it works. I mean, these kids they don't have time to waste time trying things that aren't working. It is working for so many different kids and so many different syndromes. So now their grow is 75, 80% high CBD, high ratio CBD medicine. And that is, from, when we started, it was like just a
that's what I was going to ask. I was up a year ago. So there was like a handful of, there was more than a handful of CBD plants there. But I think there was only a few Charlotte's Web.
Right. And now 75% of what they grow is Charlotte's Web high CBD strains.
It was phenomenal. So as you walk in the grow, you've got your super tall plants, which are characteristic of THC, higher THC, and then you're walking through the grow and it drops, bam, to those squatty CBD, but beautiful, lush. I mean, I can't believe how CBD those plants have transformed, because before, many people got rid of CBD genetics. They didn't know they were getting rid of it, but they were like, well, it doesn't get me high, and it's kind of scraggly, and it's not a big yielder. Yeah. And those were CBD plants that they were getting rid of.
Yeah.
Like back in the day when we just didn't know. But walking through the greenhouse and just seeing how lush and how happy the
healthy.
CBD
It's
plants
really
are.
healthy. I'm not a botanist, but you walk in there and it's like
beautiful.
And it
It's
smells
very
fresh
healthy.
and clean, and
It's amazing.
And the team that they have
somebody's calling in. I
up
think.
there,
they work so hard. Let's
they
get the call.
have done an amazing
Hello?
job.
Yeah.
Do we have a caller? Anyone? Is this a prank call? If it is, do something funny. Evidently, no one's there. So
That team up there that they have, they are they are amazing, and they have
Yeah.
done amazing work.
Because they
and
care.
They do. They
They
really,
do
really
care.
do.
They're
and
smiling.
They work their butts off.
they're happy.
Yeah. Yes.
Joel's giving them all hugs. I
Yep.
mean, the love that's up there and the energy is unbelievable.
Yep.
Unbelievable. So there was one greenhouse when I was up there. Now there's 2 greenhouses, and now they're slating for 5 more total, I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's going to take some time. Right now, there's
No, no,
2.
no. But right now, 2
We'll be working on a
huge.
They're
third one.
huge. Yeah.
Huge. Oh my God. It was just phenomenal. So anyway, back to Charlotte.
Yeah, so she's just,
She's just-
still making gains. Yesterday, she started singing. And I don't remember the last. I'm going to cry. She sang when she was 1 before she had this really horrible regression. But yesterday, her grandparents are here from Wisconsin right now. And she was just like singing. It was the sweetest. I mean, it was like, so this as a neuroprotectant, I really think I'm starting to see that quality, because she's still having a couple of those seizures. I just don't see that they're so damaging like they used to be.
Right.
So she's making gains of things that she could never do, and then things she did 6 years ago that are coming back. And it's like, it's priceless. I can't explain that. We've never been on a med that didn't have negative side effects.
Right.
That wasn't harmful, as well as seizure stopping. None of the meds worked on her seizures, but we never were on a med that wasn't also damaging to her in some way. So to see this, again, she's not using her G-tube at all. She's walking and singing, and she's really made huge gains and hasn't taken any steps backwards. So it's like, I'm done, and I'm done. I don't even have a backup. I'm not researching my I always have like 3 or 4
Backup
things.
plans?
Yep. In my arsenal, like, what am I going to try next?
Right.
What am I going to try next? I don't even have another thing that I'm looking at.
So what was
done.
what was very interesting to notice that I noticed, I don't have kids, but when we were at the fair, where did we go? The People's Fair?
Yeah.
What did we do? What did you guys do?
We had a
So the
booth there.
People's Fair, Realm of Caring had a booth, and Charlotte was like, it was like she was too.
Yeah.
She was like exploring, and
We had to tag team her in this huge park.
Yeah,
so like
she was
Christy
running
would
off.
take a mile, Jared
Yeah.
would take a
Brothers
mile.
are taking turns.
She was
yeah.
coming back with all her knees skinned and
she
sweaty.
didn't care.
It was 100 degrees that day,
And she
95 degrees out. And
She
everyone
was
had
happy.
to, that's how she is now. Everyone has to sort of take a turn because she just goes and goes and goes. So it isn't just sedating. This hasn't not been sedating for
Right.
her, the CBD.
Right.
Despite what people think.
I know.
And there's
Like-
maybe the THC is, but there's such a little amount in there. It's not. She doesn't nap anymore. She doesn't sleep, and yeah, a lot of that could be attributed to less seizure activity. But it's not sedating. She's more awake and aware, and it sleeps great.
So tell me what the neurologists at the Children's Hospital are saying.
They are happy that she's doing well. Again, Children's is very hands-off on this, but as we progress down the science route, which we're trying to do clinical trials, and we're studying the patients that have been using this, the observational research, they can't deny that it's working. And so
No.
people are now looking at this as a legitimate thing, and they're interested and curious, but Children's has a policy. They just can't get involved.
Because
So
the insurance mainly, I think,
yeah. Yep.
legal,
They're federally funded.
federally funded.
So
There
they
you go.
just can't get involved. And
Right.
I respect that, and we're working
Totally.
on changing that. But
Right.
certain steps need to be taken until they can. And but no, they're interested, and they are
Sure.
getting a lot of new patients moving here.
And I bet
you
they're
know.
thrilled about it.
Yep.
And I hope that, the time comes quickly where they can start researching on that campus.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be gigantic.
Yeah.
Because I know there are people on that campus that want to jump into
Oh, yeah.
this. I mean, yeah. And if somebody else doesn't, somebody else will. I mean, there
Oh, yeah.
will
Well,
be
we have
colleges
adult-
stepping up.
We
and
have
hospitals.
neurologists that are getting involved. They're just nobody at Children's, but
Right. No,
we-
and I get that.
Yeah,
I totally do. Okay, so what about, you've got to talk about Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah.
And having him around, like, he was such a nice man, wasn't he?
He
Truly
was
nice
so
man.
great. And, that he didn't put in air what he filmed with you at the lab. But that's been, the testing of this has been such a huge part of this. I was disappointed in that. There's so much they didn't film in general that they had to cut out of that.
I think generally that's
surprising.
what
happens.
They have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I can't wait. When our new lab is done, I'm going to invite them back, and I hope they come back and, can tie some of that stuff in, because I think it's important for other people to see that it's an actual lab and, it is science and stuff like that.
Well, there's a lot of questions on how you test and what you're testing for. There's different machines. And so I think maybe that was just a little down the road for weed, too.
Agreed.
Weed 17. We'll be in our walkers.
Right.
That's documentary. And there'll be, 50 more Charlottes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so they can keep coming back as much as they want, really.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, well let's talk about Zakai now. So Zakai has Dozer, which
It's called Doza.
Doza.
It's okay. So it's spelled Doose, like goose with a D.
Okay.
But Herman Doza, he's from Germany, so it's pronounced Doza.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and how is that different than Dravet syndrome, what Charlotte has?
I call it a sister diagnosis to Dravet syndrome. So there's several that kind of fall under this same umbrella, and then they were all identified separately, around early 70s. And so
before they lumped them all kind of together as seizure. Okay.
So Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, LGS, Dravet, Doza, even LKS, Landau-Kleffner syndrome, they're all catastrophic epilepsies. They're all kind of under that same umbrella, but they vary in severity. So there's a little bit of difference specifically between Dravet and Doza syndrome is onset usually. Usually Doza syndrome has a later onset between 2 and 5 years old. Zakai lucked out and started at 4 months old. But generally it's typically developing toddlers between 2 and 5, and then the seizures hit hard.
Okay. And I know that Zakai has had a different story than Charlotte in that he has not had one. Correct?
Right. So we started treatment on, and I remember it like it was yesterday, on July 19th of 2012.
Okay.
Zakai had 200 seizures the night before. He was having really strong, I described him as paddles on the chest, clear, real strong myoclonics. So not tonic-clonics very frequently like Charlotte had, but just incessant seizure activity. So every 2 to 10 minutes while he slept. Subclinical seizures, so the brain's firing off seizures every 10 seconds, and he looks normal to you and I, but you hook him up to an EEG, and he's just constant seizure activity.
Interrupting that's not just benign, though. That's interrupting with your entire
exactly.
life.
So he had enough of these minor motor seizures that, so he was 9 and very toddler-ish, was incontinent and didn't know his colors and couldn't write his name, and that sort of thing, autistic tendencies, behavior issues, all the stuff that you would imagine and expect from that kind of seizure activity. So so we gave him his first dose, and I laid there and stared at him. And I laid there and I stared at him, and I'm like, 10 minutes of, I'm like, this isn't right, an hour.
You're like, oh my God.
Exactly.
We might make a day.
2 hours. And we did. We went 48 hours with no seizures at all. They came back. So I almost thought of it as a bolus, like when we would go to the hospital and they med you up, and it kind of settles things down for a little bit, and then the seizures come back. But by the 3-month mark, we were seizure-free, and so we just celebrated 1 year seizure-free on October 4th.
Okay, October 4th.
Was 1 year.
Okay,
so
got it.
Over a year.
So,
wow.
Woo!
That is,
it's been incredible. And we have, similar, like parallel paths. I mean, Zakai, 4 days in, he started pumping his legs on the swing. And that was the first, you teach your children that when they're toddlers. And he just never could get it. And he didn't need any help. He just got on. And it's almost like
reaction.
It was in there.
It was
all of
stored
this,
in there.
Right.
I feel like it's all
too.
in there.
Yeah.
And we're accessing it now. We're able to access it now. And then he was humming. He never, so he was coloring, and he was.
Oh my God! See, and I'm sure.
And that was just a couple weeks in, and I thought, this is going to be it.
This is it.
And so
Like,
we're also
thank God.
pharmaceutical free now as well. So we
Wow. So
I
how long? A year?
I went really slow because he was seizure free, and I
Right.
didn't want to rock the boat. And I very much knew it was the CBD and not his other
But-
pharmaceutical. But
scared.
I was just we have
Weaning
just
can be
been
ugly.
been to hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just didn't want to and back. So So he's actually been pharma free about a month now. So he's seizure free for a year, pharma free for about a month.
Wow. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Ideal 420 soil is preloaded to perfection with all your nutrient, microbial, and biostimulant needs. It's compatible with all strains and is good for a 22-week grow cycle from seed to harvest. This product is 100% organic and gives your marijuana that awesome aroma and smooth taste we all desire. Ideal 420 Technologies is well-grounded in soil chemistry, soil physics, and microbial biology, making them the most advanced soil company in the marijuana industry. They do the science so growers can focus on what truly matters, the plants themselves. No more mixing and feeding of expensive nutrient lines, supplements, and foliar sprays. Not to mention, the company is prideful in being the most consistent soil product that has yet to hit the market. Due to the results when using Ideal 420 soil, they are quickly changing the standard for cannabis cultivation. To order the product, go to ideal420soil.com. Use promo code INTHELAB for an additional 20% off.
Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Canisher understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Canisher has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at canisher.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
Gotcha.
All right, so we're back, and what we were talking about is Zakai, and he is a year, October 4th, seizure free, and a month pharmaceutical free. And let me just tell you that, their video on YouTube is like, we were just driving back from the grow, and Steve goes, I cry every time I see that thing. And I go, I do too. I said, and especially when you show Zakai's picture, and he was blown up, oh my God.
He was my little Buddha baby. He was on steroids, very long term.
He was like a ball.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, oh my God. These
and that's, I think, generally what we experienced with pharma in general is that, the side effect profile was just not manageable. And for me, it was not just seizure control; it's quality of life.
You're just trading seizure control for something else.
Yeah, and so that's the thing with with the Charlotte's Web strain is. Like everybody says, I mean, we just haven't had any negative side effects. The first 3 months, we experienced what's called forced normalization, which is it's basically deemed a psychosis, and it was because of abrupt stopping of seizures. And it took us about 3 months to get out of that. But
really,
that's the
what is that of?
Absolutely.
What happens during that time?
Just major behavior stuff. So he had one volume and it was loud, and one speed and it was fast, and very emotional, and would cry at the drop of a hat, and slam doors or hit or those kinds of things. And and we knew what it was because we had previous EEG. And we had, post EEG, so we knew he was very, very clear. And his neurologist, who signed for him, by the way, so shout out to Dr. Brian Graber.
Graber's awesome.
Graber. He said that's what it was. That's what we're dealing with, and we're
Thank God he told you, because you would be losing your head.
You'd think it was a side
marijuana
effect.
is great. It makes people nuts.
And I do want to tell other families that because of the success, and it may happen. If the seizures abate and they've had these seizures their whole entire life, they may be looking at some weird things that may pop up that will eventually dissipate.
It's like life is just coming in, right?
Yeah, I describe it as, with that much seizure activity, right? It's like turning off the TV,
And it's obviously in them subconscious. They can't figure. I mean, it's
so
just
he's
an
got all this
outward
sensory input now that maybe he wasn't
Oh,
experiencing
okay.
before, and
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. Wow. Well, we have some movement on the website at iCannabisRadio.com. You can actually go there, log on, and we have Raven's mom on who wants to know more information on how it's helping epilepsy, and her daughter was diagnosed on 9/30 in Wisconsin, where it is legal, but considering to move to Colorado.
It's illegal.
Or illegal, sorry. Oh, illegal, sorry, and it is Wisconsin. Yes, and I'd highly recommend. I know you guys have several families that have moved here, but let's start from the beginning. Raven's mom, we'll start from the beginning, and we'll talk about how this works. First of all, you can go to the realmofcaring.com, RealmofCaring.com, Realm of Caring. But let's talk about how Realm of Caring, how one starts from scratch.
Sure. So the first point of contact, the quickest way to get a response and to begin correspondence with the Realm of Caring is to go to the website, and they can go to realmofcaring.com. The new sites, and it'll connect us to realmofcaringfoundation.org.
Okay.
And under Contact Us and Forms is a confidentiality agreement. And we start with that because we're going to be exchanging personal health information. And we're still talking, even though we feel very bold and encouraged here in Colorado, we're still talking about a federally illegal substance. And
yes,
so
we
start with our confidentiality agreement, and they can either fax that in or they can email that in.
Okay.
And all of the directions are on the website. And then they'll be added to our master list of confidentiality agreements. And this way, when they call on the phone, and our wonderful volunteers who take all the calls, they'll check that list and make sure that they're on the list, and then they can, have a pretty open conversation with them about all of the steps. The other thing that happens when they submit their confidentiality agreement is they get a startup packet, and this outlines step by step. It has some research. It talks about what to do if you're not in Colorado, what to do if you're in a legal state and looking for high CBD, what to do if you're not in a legal state, how to relocate to Colorado, research, doctors, just tons of resources to connect folks. So that, I think, answers generally most of the questions. So we ask that people review that. It's lengthy, and they can read through that and check it all out, and then call.
Okay, great. So she said that she's filled that out. So, and we'll get to, you can imagine these ladies have been completely bombarded so much to where people have gotten nasty. And this is a nonprofit. So there's only so much these ladies can do. So please, if you can also donate at the realmofcaringfoundation.org.
Right. I think that there is no paid staff at the Realm of Caring, so people need to understand that. In the 3 weeks after the CNN, and it hasn't slowed down much. We had, 4,000 phone calls, and we have 6 unpaid volunteers whose families have been changed by the program, by the Stanleys, and want to help. And so these are families, these are moms who are still dealing with children with catastrophic epilepsy diagnoses, and eventually we'll change and be able to have a call center and the whole 9 yards. But right now, you just have to be patient, and it can take up to a week to get the confidentiality agreement processed. And then if you want to, most new inquiries can get most of their questions answered through the ambassador lines.
Okay, real quick. So again, how you get your packet is you go on the realmofcaringfoundation.org, and then you go to
Contact Us.
And
Forms.
And
that's where you would fill out the confidentiality agreement. After that happens, then you have access to the web portal where you can download that.
Okay, great. And then once you call, you'll be able to discuss this.
And then also too, with inquiries coming in, filling out that confidentiality agreement, please be sure to make sure that your writing is legible. Because if it's not legible, then we cannot, when trying to send that startup packet, it's not going to make it back to you.
Right.
You can also use things to electronically sign it using DocuSign or EchoSign, which are free. So those are other ways that you can do it and sign that confidentiality agreement to make it legible so we can read it.
So she wants to know if you guys are doing a clinical trial with 200. Is that true?
So basically, what we're working on is a clinical trial that will use similar IRB-approved protocol as the other study that's happening with the GW Pharma product. So we really want to see what we come up with. So we know that they're working on that. We know the strain that we have works the majority of the time, so we want to do something very similar. And so yes, that is underway. The answer to the question is no. We don't have an approved study. We don't know the number of children that will be enrolled in that.
And it's still federally illegal. So what they can, whatever people can do, they'll do. But there's a lot of stuff that, we're tied to by the federal government.
I think our initial study will have to be with Colorado residents with their medical marijuana license with their red card.
Sure.
So it won't be like the GW Pharma product where we can ship it.
No.
At least that's not what it's
No,
looking
it
like
won't be.
right now.
And we will answer those questions as they come in. I know once the word gets out about the clinical trial,
Right.
we're going to be bombarded, and we're already bombarded with, dealing with the current patients. But as
Right.
that comes in, we'll let everyone know as soon as it comes in. We just can't, there's no information right now. We're working on it.
Right. And again, and this is for you, Raven's mom, there is going to be nothing even close to the genetics in Wisconsin as they're in Colorado. One, because they've been working on these genetics for 5 years. There's a lot to go into a grow, and certainly if you don't know how to grow, and especially in an illegal state, you're just better off moving here. Not only will you get the care, but you'll also get a support system, and it's a lot friendlier in Colorado. The whole subject of marijuana, regardless of whether it's medicinal or recreational, people have just a better attitude about it. So that would be my recommendation.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing is there's now this community here, and to
Yes.
see these parents and their kids meeting for lunch and
Yeah.
hanging out and playing and at support group and all of that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Realm of Caring also does a once a month support group meeting where the families get together. They can discuss their situations, whether they're a current patient or going to be a patient. But it's just a good opportunity for them to get together and have support with each other, and not going out to dinner with somebody who's got a diagnosis where they're in a wheelchair and not being looked at differently.
Yep.
And having that support group. It's not that.
Yeah, I got
trying to
feedback
say that
from a mom who they're relocating from Florida, and she said in Florida they're the only ones really with serious needs, and they met at Fargo's, and she was just in tears that whole day, and she's like, I'm going to be with people who understand,
Right.
And
They
who
pop
get it.
pills
Look at
in
you any
Florida.
differently.
Florida's a pop pill state. Colorado's a natural state. So they have another question. So is it true, just confirming, you don't have to be a resident for a certain amount of time, correct? You come here, you get your driver's license, you can get a recommendation.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, great. She said the pharmaceuticals they prescribe are so scary, as you ladies know. I mean, right?
Yeah.
They prescribe the same pharmaceuticals. They go through the same kind of thing, right? When you
Yeah,
bring
I
your
mean,
child
generally
in.
with the different seizure types, they may have a direction to go with the pharmaceuticals, or what they might want to try first, or what they for sure do not want to try based on them being, counterindicated for a particular diagnosis.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty much, especially in these real severe cases, it's almost a guessing game, unfortunately. And so the statistic that scares me that I usually say and is in the video is that, after 4 failed meds, pharmaceuticals, you've got about a 0.8% chance to find one that will work for your child. So it's not to say that it doesn't happen, but the odds are kind of against you.
The odds
And
are
they're
against you.
They're little children. Charlotte was 3 months and her first seizure, and these are used off-label. A lot of these pharmaceuticals on
Yes.
kids. These aren't tested for a 3-month-old child, and the dosing in the U.S. is twice as much as in Europe.
Yeah.
For a lot of the drugs, so it's rough. So you don't even get to see, like you always say, you got to meet Zakai
Right.
for the first time. You don't even
Absolutely.
get to see your child's
I remember you say
personality.
that. I remember you saying that when I saw the first first video with her in the dog bowl trying
Yeah.
to like
And just cracking
and
it.
she was
Charlotte.
silly, and I'm like, I can't even imagine that you've never seen that before with your child.
And
that
she's a
was
twin.
6.
I mean, I'm watching it. They're not identical, but I'm watching Chase form her Chase, her chasteness.
Right.
And Charlotte is just, you can just see, you just know that this is not my kid. This is the drugs. And maybe that was a little Charlotte, but this is not my kid. And, like when she's on 7 daily drugs, 7 daily seizure drugs, all doing the same thing. It's just tough to, for them to poke through. And so now it's just really nice. And I don't want to encourage that this is the thing to try and everyone's going to be drug free.
Of course.
And it's everyone should
course.
just stop taking their pharmaceuticals. I think that's a slippery slope. But
It is very
frankly,
dangerous.
A lot of these seizures are being covered by this, and they're able to wean the people using it. And that is
But
unheard of.
what about these medicines are creating problems that maybe your child didn't have before the
Oh my
meds
goodness!
too?
Like
I
seizures,
mean,
they all cause every
Yeah.
every seizure drug we tried caused a different type of seizures. Like I said, we were just trading one problem for another, and you have to balance that
experienced
quality
that
of life.
same
And the
thing.
doctors want to stop the seizures, and seizures can be stopped. You can induce a coma, you can stop seizures, but I mean sometimes that, like with Charlotte, it didn't even stop when she was sedated.
really.
But they always cause another seizure type, and like a more benign seizure type, and so we stick with it. But yeah, they all have a negative. There isn't one drug that doesn't have,
Right.
that kind of safety profile.
Right. All right. Well, we need to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Cannapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannapunch difference. iVita Wellness is committed to compassionate patient care while providing the highest quality medicine at an affordable price. At iVita Wellness, patients can get top shelf ounces for $150 every day. iVita Wellness also carries pharmaceutical grade pure CO2 oil. iVita Wellness is located in Uptown Denver on 1616 Pearl Street, open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can reach us at 303-952-9150 or our website at www.ivitawellness.com. iVita Wellness is Denver's Compassionate Care Center.
The National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
All right, and we're back. Yeah, so I wanted to let people know that the study is just getting organized. They have a long time until they get that ready. So I just wanted to let people know that. I'm sure everybody's interested, but really, please do not contact them regarding this yet, just because they will not know anything. And for sure, they will announce it on the Realm of Caring Foundation.org. So let's talk about some frequently asked questions.
Sure. So I think the first question that's asked most regularly is, do I have to live in Colorado to start treatment?
And yes.
Yes.
So the answer is yes.
You can't ship this.
For several reasons.
Yeah, you do
Right.
have to relocate, and when you do relocate, and establishing residency is relatively simple. So there is no time limit. You don't have to be here for 3 or 6 months or something like that. As soon as you have the documentation to show that you've established residency, and by the way, all of this information is in that startup packet. So just taking that extra step to fill out the confidentiality agreement is going to put you a mile ahead. So you just check with the DMV website, and there's several different pieces of paper that'll show that you're a Colorado resident. So you need to provide one of those and go to the DMV and get your state ID or your driver's license.
Right.
So I think that's the most commonly asked question. And then, so I relocate, and now I can get started on the program, and now I can travel back home, right, with my CBD and my kid. And
Nope.
so the answer to that is also no. So while you're having treatment, you need to stay in Colorado.
The medicine. Yeah, the medicine
Right.
can't leave the state.
The state. We can't even mail within the state of Colorado. It all has to be run through dispensaries, in this case with the Realm program in dispensary.
I think the next, probably most commonly asked question is, I'm in a legal state. I have a medical marijuana license in my state. So I'm in Montana, and I have a medical marijuana license. Can I use that? And so the answer is no. There's no reciprocity between states. Other states recognize our card. I could go with Zakai to California and show our card and purchase cannabis in California, but Colorado doesn't recognize anybody else right now. So there's a couple Stanleys who love the political side of things and are working on those sorts of things and making sure that the laws are in place for reciprocity between the states where it is legal. So California specifically does allow that.
No one's leaving Colorado for high CBD.
Yeah, there is no, and just so you guys know, I mean, really, this is important to parents out there. You cannot, I know how desperate parents are. I'm sure I would be. You cannot go down to the local park and buy some weed, for no better word, and expect it to have any CBD in it, because just to give a little history, I mean, we've been growing for high THC for decades. It is just in the last 5 years that at least the United States commercially has been growing for CBD, because you can there have been studies on it, and their studies are out there. But when you go, you have to make sure you test this, because people, unfortunately, will sell you stuff and say it has CBD in it. And before you buy anything, you need to ask them if it's tested and to see the test report and to call the testing place to make sure. There is a lot of fraud going on now with CBD. So please don't think that any other illegal state you can just go and buy some.
Well, and you run the lab here. Labs, but desperate parents will hear the name of a strain that is a high ratio CBD to THC and just trust that because, I don't know if Charlotte's Web is circulating in other states. I'm sure it is not, but
they're saying it is.
Saying it is. But there's other strains, and we don't need to go through that list of other, but it still needs to be, the name of the strain just can't be trusted.
It doesn't even matter.
We tried lower ratio. It was high ratio CBD to THC, but it had a lower ratio than Charlotte's Web, and it caused seizures. And but I needed that number to compare to see what you need to know what you're giving. You need to know milligrams.
I think
there's no way around it.
The important message to send to the parents is that they need to treat this, although cannabis is very, very safe. I mean, safety profile is absolutely unheard of. It is very, very safe.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with medically fragile children who are generally on a lot of pharmaceuticals, and they need to think of this just like they would any other drug, any other AED that they would be using. And you just can't abruptly start. You just can't abruptly stop.
Right.
Too much THC
need
can
a supply,
exacerbate situations. So super important.
You need
the
a
message you guys are
consistent
saying.
supply, and you need to know. Like people will say, "I'm giving 1 mil a day." A mil of what? You need to know how many milligrams. You wouldn't give a mil of Tylenol without knowing what was in it.
No.
And there are interactions, we believe, between the pharmaceutical seizure drugs and the cannabis, and it's not pretty.
Well, and plus, a lot of the black market marijuana comes from Mexico, which has a slew of pesticides. I can already tell you that. I mean, look
Know
at what
your
comes
grower.
over
So we don't
from
want
Mexico.
to concentrate the pesticides down and give it to your medically fragile child.
Exactly. This is serious, just like any other medicine. This is not, your weed at the park. So please do not do that. What about? Well, I bought hemp paste, CBD. How does that compare to this oil?
I think that the safe answer there is that there's no research that shows that that's going to be effective for epilepsy. I think that it also becomes cost prohibitive because to get, for example, my son's dosing, which is 250 milligrams a day right now, on some of those other products is $2,500 to $3,000 a month. So that's not something most people can't afford to get to the therapeutic dose that we have discovered just as parents. So, over the course of the last...
the lab report is the same with that. I haven't seen a lab report for every batch, and I don't know the grower. You don't know the grower with those products.
No, you don't.
You don't know how they're going.
You don't, and again, THC is not the redheaded stepchild, too. It absolutely, I truly believe you need whatever that amount is. Let's just call it a couple of milligrams, okay? Whether that's 20 to 1, 30 to 1. That it works like a lock and key. Pharmaceuticals, again, have one mechanism, and that's why they have so many side effects. Cannabis has over 500 constituents in the plant, over 100 cannabinoids. We only are familiar with about 9 right now, only 1 being psychoactive. I mean, this plant has so much to offer, but, it's lock and key, entourage, symphony, all of those words. And so I just don't think stripping out these cannabinoids, as we saw in Marinol, stripped out THC synthetically made, doesn't work. Nobody that I know, and it's killed 4 people. So, this Realm oil, they will dial in the exact, ratio you need, and then better yet, grow it out of the plant. I mean, they don't even modify it, right? Charlotte's Web?
Yeah. No, it's not modified
I mean,
at all.
it's just been genetically grown.
Right.
I think that's important too because we don't know the minor cannabinoids that are. I'm very interested in that side of things. Don't you want to know
very
what else?
interested. Yeah.
It's not
What
just
you're
CBD
doing
and
what.
THC.
That's
There's
right.
got to be some other
Right.
minor cannabinoids.
Flavonoids,
What is
terpenes.
what is it exactly? So we don't know, and I know that's very frustrating
getting
for
there.
parents. Because they're in other places and they don't have access to this, and they see these success stories that are happening here, and you see us, Paige and I, but there are many 85% of the children are having very, very positive
So that's amazing.
results. The biggest group of seizure reduction is 90 to 99%. The next biggest group is 100%. Zakiah is not the only seizure-free kiddo on
Really?
Charlotte's
So
Web.
far, okay.
But we are public. We want to tell people
Sure,
about our
sure.
experience. And so, and then the group after that is 50% seizure reduction. By the way, an epileptologist in this group of kids thinks 30% seizure reduction is
Is awesome.
really
Really
awesome.
awesome. So marijuana now, cannabis is doing 50, 90, and 100.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
wow.
in our little population,
Right.
in Charlotte's
In our
Web, and it's
population.
kind of it's the largest pediatric epilepsy population being treated with the whole plant.
Right.
With any plant, with any amount of CBD.
Right.
So it's very interesting information that we're working on to get those numbers out. Very, very interesting to watch. And
Now, what about, are you still accepting people on the Facebook group? And if so, do you want to talk about that?
So our private Facebook group?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's called New Hope and New Home in Colorado, or just New Hope and New Home?
New Hope, New Home.
New Hope,
and
New Home. We are absolutely taking new people on that site. They just need to have a confidentiality agreement turned in. So we just check our master list, and if you have that turned in, then they'll add you. So if you're sitting there, and I think there's 25 or so who are sitting there waiting to be added, we're not ignoring you. You do need to fill out a confidentiality
But that's the
agreement.
group for families moving to Colorado, relocating to Colorado to start the medicine. There's also the Realm of Caring Facebook page. And
Right. So
But-
what
but
about
yeah.
the pediatric? Are you still...
So we're all members on pediatric
Yeah,
cannabis
okay.
therapy, and we that's
Okay, so
a
let's
great
talk
place to
about that
connect.
real quick. Pediatric cannabis therapy, just real quick, is started when? What, of
that
2012?
was started about 2 years ago.
Not even 2 years,
Yeah,
was it?
probably a year and a half.
A year and a half ago, and there's 1,800 now?
probably.
wow. Yeah, I would- I
1863.
And I think what's happening in that group is they're kind of breaking off into different state groups at this point.
Okay.
But it's
So
a great
specific.
place to connect, and there's a lot of resources and information under the files in that group.
There is. So, again, that's the Pediatric Cannabis Therapy Facebook group. It is a private group. This is not to come on, and you will not be accepted unless you are a parent of a sick child. And this is not to come on and sell anything or anything. It's for support
And it's not a
information.
realm of caring group. It's just another
It's
mom.
a justice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of realm of caring patients who go on, a lot of parents who go on there just to get the basic info and
Right, just to get
figure
the
out
basic.
how to get started, in their
Right.
own states. But
Because I know we're on here as a lab, Can Labs. I know the workshop's on here. So you have some great resources from this
Right.
group.
Dr. Agarwal is
Yeah,
on there.
Sunil's
Chris
on there.
Stubb is on there. So
Yep.
you can get some good science questions answered as well.
So
And then
that's
every
good,
third Thursday we do a science-based conference call with the Realm of Caring as well. So you can check our Facebook page, Realm of Caring, on Facebook and go to the events there. So we generally will have at least one conference call about general questions, which is a great thing to get on. Actually, one is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, just a general questions conference call. And then every third Thursday we'll have like a science corner.
even just to call and listen in.
wasn't
There'll be
even on
like
there.
a small group of parents who have a lot of questions, and then most people are just listening and getting their questions answered. It's a great monthly call.
Okay. Well, that is great. I know that people on there have gotten. I mean, I see desperate people on there. So I mean, you're helping out a lot of people. Okay, so let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Tired of dispensary hopping? Trying to find quality meds? Look no further and get to know Greenworks. Our shops are stocked with over 20 strains of organically grown meds, including R4, the highest tested CBD strain in Colorado. Yes, we back up our quality with testing. While Greenworks offers only the highest quality meds, we don't believe in high prices, with eighths ranging from $20 to $40 and ounces capped at $175. With 2 centers in Denver and 1 in Glenwood Springs, we're likely closer than you think. Call 303-647-5210 to find the location nearest you. Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
All right, and we're back. So I do want to say it again that the Realm of Caring is a non-profit. These ladies and all the volunteers bust their butt to make this happen. I don't care if you can only donate $5 or $10 or $20. Any amount helps, and you can go to the realmofcaringfoundation.org. But you can also, if you don't have money, you can donate your time. They will always and forever need volunteers, and the best thing you can do to help somebody if you don't have money is to donate your time. So please contact them and start spreading the word. So what else? What are some other things that we want to talk about? Like, I know that you guys are working nonstop, and what can you tell people to expect? Timelines, all of that kind of stuff.
It just really depends on the volume that's coming in at that time. But we just ask that people with new inquiries just be patient with us. Again, it's all volunteer-based. Everybody's working very, very hard. And we will get back to them as soon as possible.
I would
Right.
say, expect up to a week, especially for your confidentiality agreement to be processed and, for emails to be responded to. And you'll be pleasantly surprised most of the time. It won't take that long. But if you could just, give us a little bit of time.
Okay. What is so if I'm coming, I filled out my confidentiality, then do you contact them?
Then they will get the startup packet, and then we are expecting, if you have more questions after that you would contact us.
Okay. Then my kid gets accepted, and then what happens from there?
He gets accepted into
the program.
Gets the red card.
Gets a red card. Gets everything, because
Sure.
the realm of caring helps you with doctors, and Can Labs can help you with doctors too. But then what?
Yeah. So that's good. Let's run through the process. So after that form's filled out, you get the startup packet. You would add yourself to the wait list, and it says how to do that in the startup packet. It's very simple information: name, diagnosis, weight, that sort of thing.
And you get that packet in the mail?
It's electronic.
Electronic email.
And so they would want to add themselves to the wait list, whether they're looking at coming quickly or whether it's down the line that they're looking at it. They want to make sure that they get on the wait list, and mostly due to a new licensing that the Stanleys are working on that will hopefully alleviate this plant count issue. So how it works currently is plant counts that are received by October can potentially start after the March harvest. So in Colorado, you can't grow unlimited plants. They're assigned to patients. And because of the demand for Charlotte's Web, they have to have the plant counts. And so currently, and the new licensing is looking very, very good, and the funding is looking very good for all of that, but it's just not 100% yet. And I'm the under-promiser. I'm never going to tell you something that I can't deliver on, ever. So plant counts received by October can start after March harvest. Plant counts that are received by March can start after October harvest. That's worst case scenario. How your plant counts are assigned are through your red card application.
Right.
And so that's what that process looks like. So you get on the wait list. After you get your red card application filled out and submitted, you would send that to me. And then you move up on the wait list as ready to go. And then you're basically waiting for Charlotte's Web to be ready for you.
And it's first come, first serve on the waiting list, right? It's not severity of case.
It's based off of their certified mail receipt date.
Okay.
And then we do
So first come, first serve.
a terminal situation would, we would take a look at that. Generally, it's absolutely in the order that people come on. But if you're looking at a stage 4 brain cancer and you've got 6 weeks, we're obviously very sensitive to,
Of course.
understand those sorts of situations. But
Okay. So what people understand need to understand is then your medicine has to grow. I mean, that's some of these things that automatically they think you just have these jars,
barrels of CBD
and these
somewhere.
barrel,
Well,
and it.
but these are, we're parent volunteers, and we aren't going to start a child on this that's going to run out of medicine. We understand the nature of this as a seizure drug, and they are not going to run out because we were irresponsible and really wanted them to start sooner. They really wanted to start today.
But here's the reality, okay? What if they lost an entire harvest? I mean, it's possible.
It's a farm.
It's a crop. It's a farm. It's just like anything else. And that's why it's very important for people to get on it in their state and talk to their government right now and push for medical marijuana.
Right.
Because it is a plant and something could happen to it. I mean, there's nothing to say that it couldn't, but it's nice to know that you wouldn't take a child off the waiting list unless you can provide medicine to them.
Right, for as long
Which
as
is
they
amazing.
need it. Right. But like you said about the other states, that's how we started it here, was parents who had demanded a supply, and then you supplied our demand. So there needs to be a demand. If everyone leaves their state to come here, that's terrific for their child, but don't stop that fight in your home state, because no one will know that there is a demand for this. Your lawmakers, the doctors, the growers, they need to understand there needs to be like an uprising of demand.
Right.
Or there will never be a supply.
And again, just so you guys aren't confused, the Realm of Caring Foundation.org is the place where your child will get the medicine. That's the place you need to contact. All these other Facebook groups and stuff like that are support groups and information groups. These are totally separate.
And I do want to make just a real quick clarification. The Realm of Caring does not provide the cannabis oil. The cannabis oil is provided through in-dispensary. Realm of Caring, being a nonprofit organization, cannot legally provide the cannabis oil. And so I know that's been some confusion.
So I call that an arm's length from the plant.
Yeah.
So we'll do everything else. We'll manage the research, the education, the advocacy, all of that.
But they pick up their medicine from in-dispensary.
Correct.
Right. Okay, and thank God that 64 passed. Because, I mean, right now, according to law, I can give an ounce or I can give anything I want to another adult. The problem lies with the child, correct?
Yeah, I don't think anything will change as far as our intake process at all because of that. I get that question quite a bit too. So they'll think they'll be able to come in, and Charlotte's Web is just frankly not available over the counter at in-dispensary.
Right. No, it never will be.
Right. So if you show up there, and think you're gonna
get it, you're not.
You're not gonna be
yeah.
able to.
Yeah, and that's something. Yeah, that's very important. It'll be a legal state, but not for anybody under 21. If you have a sick child or a sick somebody under 21, they will not be able to buy cannabis without a red card. And that's exactly how it should be, because we do not want cannabis getting into the wrong hands. The costs for the oils. Come on, Mandy, jump in.
The cost for this high CBD, the Charlotte's Web strain, is 5 cents per milligram. The higher THC oils is priced at 3 cents a milligram. So depending on starting dose, based on weight, age, diagnosis, things like that, that can vary, especially with epileptic situations. If moving up in dose, that price will increase, but we do keep that price as low as we possibly can to continue operating it and it being sustainable.
So retail on CBD at dispensaries is the minimum is 32 cents a milligram that I've seen.
Which is how much? Wait, 32.
And we're 5 cents. And it's as high as, 72 cents or something like this. I talked with 3 folks in California last week who were so happy they found high CBD, and it was a 19-to-1.
Wow.
And it was good, but it was $2 a milligram.
Jeez.
So their kiddos would have needed, it was going to be $120 a day for this particular family.
Yeah.
And it's just
I know it's running about $60 a gram. Jeez. I think 60 for high CBD oil. Well, and again, you've got to look at it. Obviously, low yield. Still the same amount of work, but a low yield.
Well, and the other thing with especially Realm of Caring is everything's tested. So it's grown organically, and then everything has to be tested. It's expensive and
Can Labs tests it, and that's very important because without testing, you don't know the dose. And there's no way. How would you know?
And then everything is, milligrams dosed out, so that takes time as well. And we're moving to not having capsules, but I mean, they had 1,800 capsules by hand to the nearest hundredth of a gram to measure out this last week. That's a lot. So say thank you for 5 cents.
Yeah. I know. I really hope that you guys can put together like a video to show people just how time consuming it is. Okay, so we have a few minutes left. What is the most important thing? Some of the things that you could tell a parent or anything about the program.
I just wanted to, if Heather wouldn't mind talking about Zakai's 1 year free or seizure-free party.
Woohoo! Sure. So that's going to be October 20th. It's going to be at Jumpin' Jacks in the Citadel Crossing. It is a closed party, so you do need to RSVP. And they can go to tinyurl.com/Zakai, ZAKI, the number 1, and then the initials year, YR. So tinyurl.com/Zakai 1 year. And we'll make sure that that's posted on our Facebook page as well. And you can RSVP and you can donate to the Realm of Caring there. The DOZA Syndrome Epilepsy Alliance has set up a fiscal sponsorship agreement, so everything will be absolutely tax deductible, and we'll be passing all of the monies along too. the realm of caring.
Fantastic.
So,
Fantastic.
yeah, come celebrate with us.
Yes.
Aw.
Please.
Holly says, "Go Zakai."
I love you, Holly.
Holly,
We're going to get
thank
Sid
you.
going soon, babe.
And I'd like to just take a minute, and I just would like to thank everybody in the Realm of Caring program, in dispensary, the growers, the brothers, the doctors. Dr. Getty has been amazing.
Dr.
And the
Getty
team
is
that we
amazing.
have has just been phenomenal.
How about the
And
wives
seeing-
of the? How about the wives? Sweet pea.
But just really do have just such a great group. And I know being more on the front end on our side and getting to talk and work with these families, a lot of the back end part, the growing in dispensary, don't get the credit that they so badly deserve. And I
Right.
just want to send out a big thank you and appreciation again to in dispensary, the growers, all
Yes.
of our volunteers. Gosh, we could not do this at all without the volunteers that we have.
Or you, or Heather, Paige, all of you ladies,
Everybody.
though.
And nobody
really.
cares to be thanked. I mean, if you meet the people in this industry, no one even cares about being thanked.
I
or having
know.
their face on this, because this is
It's bigger
this
than
is
us.
a big,
Right.
big deal.
Much
This is an
bigger than
amazing.
us.
Look at this kid. He
I know.
is seizure free. That is
Yeah.
all you. He has been given a life. I mean, to have this run on donations, that's something that people will donate to and help continue this cause. This is
Absolutely.
a big deal.
Absolutely.
And it's bigger than us.
It
But
is.
and
It's
I
much
think
bigger.
one of the key things you said though is that even if you do come to Colorado, you really you can't forget about your state. You need to talk to parents. You need to spread the word. You can also look on YouTube, type in Charlotte and Zakai, Z-A-K-I, and it will show you their stories. And one more question. Raven's mom, Tina, wanted to know how long do they stay on the oil? Is it for a lifetime, or is there a chance they won't need it after a while? Neurologist said that Raven has a chance of outgrowing epilepsy. So,
You know, I've talked with a couple of scientists about that, and they challenged my thinking on that because we think after 2 years of seizure-free, this is traditional, neurology. After 2 years of being seizure-free, you can wean your pharmaceuticals or try to,
Yeah.
and hopefully, the seizures will stay gone. But I was challenged because the cannabis is filling in a deficiency somehow.
that's right, it is.
Some way.
Deficiency.
And
It is.
and so whatever that is, Charlotte's condition is genetic. Zakai's condition is most likely genetic. We're seeing conditions that, are genetic or have, brain malformations that are it's still being managed with the CBD. So it may be that they may need some lifetime treatment. It may be less over time. We don't really know the answer to that. We're kind of we're charting our own course right now. But I was challenged with that, and I thought that makes a lot of sense. That he may need some, Zakai may need some low level, cannabinoids.
Well, I had somebody on here that thinks of it, and I thought it was very neat because, it's not a pharmaceutical. It's a plant, but it's more than a plant because it does carry some psychoactivities. But I had a guest on that called it a superfood. He flat out said he thinks it's a superfood, that these cannabinoids, and like you said, we just are scratching the surface. Can Labs will be testing for 9 cannabinoids in the next month, so your reports will soon give
Nice.
9.
Awesome.
So we'll see what what else is in Charlotte's Web. Then we'll be testing for terpenes, and I think that's the next key.
I think the message too is, I'm not going to be sad to have to give this to Zakai forever if
Right.
we need
Yeah.
to.
Why would
It's
you?
been so fantastic for him. So I
Absolutely.
want some. I
And
need
like,
a
right?
qualifying
Yeah.
condition.
But with, like
Wait
you
a minute,
said,
is PTSD
How
covered
about
yet?
being a woman? That's
Yeah.
qualifying.
Qualification number 10.
That's right.
Funny.
Oh, don't worry. There's cannabis there for everyone if people choose. But the whole point is to get the information out there and make people, give them that decision. So.
Well, and in the future too, learning, because it works completely different in raw form than it does in decarboxylated form. Heated form.
Right.
And so finding out, the benefits to both sides over the next couple years, I think is going to be very
Absolutely.
beneficial as well.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you so much. And of course, I'll have you guys on in a few months so we can recap and everything like that. And again, realmofcaringfoundation.org. Start there. Go to contact us and forms and fill out that confidential agreement. And you too will be able to get your child on this amazing medicine called Charlotte's Web. All right. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jennifer,
you.
for having
Thank
us.
Bye, you guys.